press plates for the Spellbinders BetterPress System are popping up all over the place from many different companies. The selection is amazing. Hello and welcome to Karen's Creative Cards on YouTube. I am Karen Hashik and I recently gave myself a Spellbinders BetterPress System and purchased many of the Spellbinders press plates to play with. But what is even more exciting is the amazing number of other crafty companies who are jumping on the BetterPress bandwagon and producing gorgeous press plates, all of which can be used in your hot foil system as well. In this video, I am sharing many cards and press plates from other companies other than Spellbinders and some techniques and ideas for lovely backgrounds and border press plates. The companies that I found that have come out with press plates include Pinkfresh Studios, Altenew, LDRS Creative, and Hero Arts. One of my favorites of the new press plates I bought is this fairy tale frame from Pinkfresh Studios. And here are a couple cards I created with it. I also bought the Altenew Beautiful Butterfly press plate, die set, and stencils to color with. And this card I made with all of those press plates, and I did the butterfly in a pretty mirror card. Another fun way to use these plates is to emboss the backgrounds like I did with this card. So all you do is run the plate through your die cutting machine with your rubber mat, just as if you were embossing a die, but you get this embossed frame here, and that's just another use for your press plates. The frame on this card is the classic rectangle impression die letterpress press plate from LDRS Creative. It was just a really classic frame, and then I put that pretty butterfly and the sentiment from Altenew, and I did use the stencils to color that. So very easy to make, but very, very classy and beautiful for a sympathy card. The company I found the most press plate selections at, besides Spellbinders of course, was Pinkfresh Studios. I made this background on this card with the classic, oh, I got this one first here, classic plaid background. It's called Stippled Plaid, and all I did was brush on some ink and then run the plate through and got this fun plaid background. And then I die cut a Kirigami heart from Griffin out of the front. So it will arrive like this, and then when the person receives it, they open it and they can see the message inside. So another use for a pretty background that we would make. And then this is the Breezy Blossoms background plate from Pinkfresh Studios. And you also can get matching stencils, and there's a die set too. I didn't get the die set, so I'm just using mine as a background, but I created this card with the technique I'm going to share in a minute using a cover plate. So you do it twice and then you cut it out with a cover plate, and the pattern goes from the background to the front. Can you see those pretty butterflies on the front cut out? So another fun background technique. When purchasing these press plates from Pinkfresh Studios, I received this hot foil plate as a gift from them. Now all of the press plates that you see here can be used in both the BetterPress system and the hot foil systems, which is very exciting and means the value of the press plates are twice as high. However, hot foil plates cannot be used in the BetterPress system, and I don't own any hot foil products. So I am going to give away this lovely set in a giveaway on my Instagram account. So click on the link in the description box to where you could comment and possibly win. And of course, all the cards that I've shared here will be on my blog, and links to those blog posts and products are in the description box. I'm going to make a card with you today that combines several of these techniques, and we'll be back in a minute to do that. I'm going to work with the press plates first and then do the die cutting and put the card together. First, I'm going to do a plaid background and cut a Kirigami heart out of. So I have this, and I'm going to place it down on the magnetic plate, and I have a square piece of the Spellbinders cotton cardstock that's been brushed with some ink, and I'm going to attach it to the cover. One tip that I got from a group that I belong to that's called BetterPress Babes is when you're attaching this, of course you can use the yellow tape that they gave you, but sometimes, especially in these large plates, I will put a piece of tape and that will be right where the ink is, and also sometimes it just tore the paper, so I wasn't real happy with that, and one of the babes suggested you take some removable adhesive, which I always have, a tape runner, and just add some of that to the back, and then place it in your plate and it will hold it in place. And I thought that was a great tip, because now I don't have any tape where I might be inking, it's a really easy way to hold it in place. So what I'm going to do is I am going to ink this plaid plate up with one color, and then I'm going to move the paper and do another color, so I'm going to get like a double plaid. One of my favorite inks to use on these plates is the Distress Oxide. They have a nice firm pad, and they go on very easy, and they're easy to clean. Of course, I have some of the inks from Spellbinders, but when I'm inking a larger area, I like to use the Distress Oxides. So of course you ink that up and you have your paper ready, and then you just attach these magnets, and right now the paper and the ink is not touching, but when we run it through the die cutting machine, I have the Platinum 6, which is perfect for this. I don't have a lot of room, but I'm going to run this through. And then you just lift it off, and you have one pretty set of plaid. But I thought I would try and see if I could get a double plaid and use two different colors to do that. So I'm just cleaning it up, getting the purple off with a baby wipe. Then I'm going to just move this down a little bit, and I'm going to guess that if I go down about ½ inch or so, but keep the sides where they were, I think I'll get another image. I tried turning it. That didn't seem to work, so let's try this. Again, just attach the magnets. Run it through. I'm becoming more experienced. I've only had this BetterPress system for a few weeks, and my first video I went forward and backward thinking, oh, then I'll get a better image, and they say don't do that. That one time through is enough, and also less likely to move anything. So that's kind of fun, right? We have the inked background, and then we have the 2 lines of different colors of plaid. That I am going to cut a heart out of in a minute, but we're going to just doing our better pressing first, and then move on to combine a couple of the techniques to make a card inside and out. I need one of those fancy magnets to get these off. There we go. Okay, next I am going to work with this beautiful breezy blossom background. And you just center it there. Once again, use a little bit of my removable tape. To attach the paper. You use the registration marks for A2 if that's what you're making. There's a mark there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's driving me nuts. Let me see if I can get it off. One eraser, no. This is a tip from Jennifer McGuire that I've been using. If you take a sanding block, sometimes when there's a mark. If not, let's just say that that's going to be covered. I hope so. Okay. Then I'm going to ink this up with a very light, it's called Pebble from Concord and Ninth, and it's kind of a grayish tan, but it's real subtle, and it was better than if we did black for the background. That was just too kind of harsh on these flowers. So I tried this and I liked it. So I am inking all over. It's kind of surprising, I think, that if I get ink in between these images, which you do, it's impossible not to, how that ink usually doesn't transfer to the image. So I guess the lines and the dies keep the paper up high enough, but I haven't had any real issues with ink where I didn't want it. Another tip that Yana shared is if you put it through once and you don't get a perfect image, it's not like a Misty that you can just assume that if you put it through again it will line up perfectly. But she taped this part, this magnetic part, down, because that sometimes moves a little bit, and then it seemed to work to put it through a second time. So the first time I tried, it was like, well, this doesn't work. You know, they're not lined up if you didn't get a perfect image. Now, usually you do, but maybe I didn't ink it perfectly. That happens, right? But let's see. Most of the time, this whole system is pretty foolproof, and I do better than I do with stamping. Yep. And then I didn't get it quite perfect there, but I think when I start stenciling and adding color and then put the cover on, it will be just fine. So we're going to stick with that. Now I'm going to add some color with stenciling. I don't know about you guys, but I am no good with coloring. I'm just not. But when you can give me layered stencils, I can color with the best of them. So that was a big blessing for me when they came out with layered stencils to color with. So I have chosen some inks to work with. Some pinks, and then some yellows, and then I decided I wanted some aqua blue leaves. And so this is number 1, and sure, I must have done this upside down, right? Is that right? Yeah. Have to have the paper the right way. There we go. Right. Okay, so you can see these are very easy to line up. You're just looking for the big flowers. And then I'm taping that down. And my first layer is going to be in Cherry Blossom. I'm not going to try to do a lot of shading because there's a second and third layer to most everything, and that gives you the shading by just changing the colors. So I just add ink going both ways. And number 1 is done. And then we'll move on to number 2. And that one is lined up again. There's like a little, I don't know, finger there that you can use to line those up. And then the other ones just fall in place. This is just adding some highlights to these pink, I moved it, pink flowers. And of course, if you don't have a lot of inks in different shades, you can just use a light hand and a heavy hand with the same color. But I did purchase a bunch of the Pink Fresh Studio cubes, and so I have many different shades, which is good. So this is 3, and I am going to do this layer with some yellow flowers and then add a little highlights to the flowers I've already done. And then I'm going to add a darker yellow, and then I'm going to do the leaves in 2 shades of aqua blue, and you don't need to watch all of those. I'll be back in a minute. So as you can see, the coloring is very simple to do. There is layered stencils that line up perfectly with all of the leaves and the flowers and give you extra details that you can add, and it's the best way to color, in my opinion. I'm going to put this on the card front, but first we're going to work with the inside of the card. I have a top folding card base, and I have die cut the Anna Griffin Kirigami hearts out of that plaid piece that we worked on before. There's a large one and a small one, and you can choose to either cut the heart out completely, as I did here, or leave the heart in, as I did on the other card that I showed you. I've cut it out, and then I put a cord through the hole in the center. the way that I learned how to do this was to put the cord through and then put a glue dot there to hold it in place, tie the knot, trim it off, and then use a I have my EK Success powder tool, and I neutralize that glue dot because you don't want that to stay. And we are going to attach this in the inside of the card, and when the person gets it, they will lift it up and see the sentiment underneath. So we need to get this kind of moving here a little bit. Alright, so I'm just going to mark here through the openings where I want my sentiment to be. I have a Layered Forever from Gina K Designs that I am going to put in the center. This is going to be a wedding card for a special couple who are getting married. So we'll put Forever there. And then glue carefully around the edge of this Kirigami heart. I think I'll put a weight on there to get that, make sure that stays down. In the meantime, we'll work on the front. So I have the piece that I did with you, and then I did another one with identical colors in the same position, and then I cut it out with the cat Scrappiness heart cover plate. So this is the cover plate technique where you do it twice, either stenciling or coloring of some kind, or even pattern paper, all can be used, or stamping of course, and then you cut one out with a cover plate that has pretty thick lines. So I am going to attach this on top, and the pattern will flow from the background to the front, which I think is just a really cool technique. And we have this beautiful floral cover plate that we covered. I have put sticky adhesive strips along all the sides and about half of the rays, so that this is going to be popped up. I'm going to have to stand up to get this lined up. But if you look at the big flowers and you look at the stems, and I think that looks pretty good. And then we're going to push it down. Even though that doesn't look straight on there, I'm just going to trim the back off. But you can see the flowers start in the back and then come through into the front. And I just think that's a really cool look. I will trim off to make these line up to place on the front of our card. And that is finished. The inside of our card has a heart that we will that they will open and they'll see that forever. I just think that's a really cool look. I have other shapes of the Kirigami dies from Anna Griffin, but she just came out with the hearts, and I couldn't resist. So now we are going to put our card front on here. Let that set up a minute. I die cut a love, which I think I do want to put across that heart in the center. I didn't want too big of a sentiment to cover up the pretty heart and the flowers, but I just thought maybe we should have a little something there. So this is a pretty die. I think it's from Spellbinders, from a set that I had, and a pretty little font. So we have the pretty press plate and the flowers stenciled, and the cover plate technique with the pattern continuing from the front to the top. And then when they open it up, we have that pretty plaid that was also created with a press plate and a heart that lifts to see forever. So of course we have beautiful press plates on the front and the inside of this to make a gorgeous love card for a special couple. I hope my cards encourage you to give some of these ideas and products a try. Remember to visit my Instagram for a chance to win a giveaway. And if you're watching before March 31st, 2024, there's also a giveaway on my other BetterPress video. See the description box for a link, and have a great crafty week.